Left-Wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
Basically, we got two preferences that we think are going to be coming up for this next election. Biden and the Trumpy bump. And there's been a recent decline in support of President Joe Biden amongst black voters.
And a rise for Trump. That's it.
Yeah, and a rise for support from black people for Trump. It's crazy. It's been a trend that's been concerning a lot of people, and there's a number of factors that could be contributing to it.
Yeah.
That too, there's all kind of things, man. So, Walanda, why are brothers and sisters dropping your boy like a bad habit?
There's quite a few reasons, but just to let you know, this is by The Hill, so you can go and research that. There's a poll by Highland Project found that 69% of millennial and Gen Z, so your favorites, millennials, they speaking, and Gen Z are really dissatisfied with the direction how the country's going. So basically what they're saying is like, I'm hearing all this, you know, our generation, we've caused some problems here for them. They can't buy houses, the student loan debt, all that. But they had promises though. So Biden's made some promises and he's not been able to follow through. So that's been the frustration is people are saying, hey, yeah, I've been riding with Biden, but what are you doing for us? And they're just not seeing the fruit of their labor of their vote. So basically, he's promising things that he's not being able to follow suit for. There's also a survey of American Life found that only 21% of black voters between 18 and 49 even want Biden to be the Democratic nominee. Now, we've already touched on that, but just know that they don't really want Biden as their representative. So that's also an issue. So either they're going to sit out or some are turn into Trump, I guess. But, you know, majority of them are sitting out. They said it was a decline. I have it somewhere here, but there's a decline of about 10% of voting from 2018 to 2020. So basically, we're losing voters. So we had 51%, so now we're down to about 42%. And it's steady declining. So now they ain't even voting anymore because they're like, why am I voting? Am I getting what I want? Yeah. You know, you're not following through.
Yeah, they're taking away from the electorate. You know, antagonizing them, so people don't even want to vote.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you don't like what Biden's doing, but then somebody tell me what Trump's stand is on any of these policies. Please tell me, because
we know what his stance is, man. I mean, on some of them, I would put it to you like this: his stance,
you don't have
very broad. Build a wall. Stop. He got an immigration stance. He is trying to stop He's trying to stop immigrants. Now you know he is. You may not like what he's saying about it, but he's trying. That's his stance. It doesn't matter if we like it or not. To Tina's point, he's trying to stop Hispanic people from coming from Mexico. That's a stance. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. He's doing it. That's what his stance is. I mean, he's for whatever reason, he's against abortion. We know that. He put people into the Supreme Court to go ahead and vote it down.
I don't think that's his stance on abortion. He did that.
When he talks to evangelicals, that's what he says. That's his stance. We can't say he's not saying this stuff. He is. It's just not a broad. We just don't like his stance on something he's taking, and he has to stand for taxes.
Speed up against abortion.
Taxes.
Well, he wants tax. Corporate taxes. Yeah,
exactly. Corporate taxes. He's like he wants to bring them taxes
I'm talking about
down
directly on the economy, though.
Well, that's a different thing. He does have a stance, though.
And when
you can't
people
say he don't have a stance,
when they complain about Biden, they complain about the economy and where they're at right now. What I'm saying is, Trump doesn't have a policy on that. He doesn't have a stance
his policy is let's go ahead and less tax corporations will help the economy. That's his stance.
Trickle down economics.
That's his stance. I mean, whether it's right or wrong. You say he doesn't have a stance on that. He does.
Yeah. Well, Biden, some people don't understand what Biden has done. And Biden has done some things, but I don't think they have a clear message and they need to pump that. Like as far as what he's done for black people, he has invested $5.8 billion in HBCUs. That's more, but people don't know that. They don't talk about it, you know? So again, $5.8 billion to historical black colleges and universities. He's also addressed the black maternal health crisis and forgiveness of student loan debt. Again, not the whole student loan debt, but I can speak to myself because my loans are gone. You know what I mean? So there are people who have been impacted by things that he has done, but I don't think his message is out there. And then with Republicans, they keep saying they want to be more diverse and they're trying to get, more people, black people, vote for me and this is why you should. But you got people like Tommy Tuberville. He's the Republican in Alabama. He said white supremacists are not inherently racist. So you got people who say these things and then they want to, let's embrace diversity.
And he's also holding up the military on getting their promotions.
Right.
But
look at the attempts that they do, So I'm like, you're not going to generate, I'm sorry, most people that are, look like me and are lighter brown are not going to sit up here and get on the side of white supremacy. So,
No.
I mean, we're declining with Biden, but also they're like, well, where do I go from here? So a lot of them are going to, third party, independent, because they're like, I don't feel like you're doing for me, but I'm definitely not going to be riding over here with a white supremacist. So where do I fit? Where does my vote lie?
Now, I just think black people ain't paying attention.
Thank
right
you.
now. You're right, exactly right now. I think once we get closer to the national election, they will. And I believe that early voting or early polls are usually a little faltered, but, they're just not paying attention. And that's basically it. And they're just kind of, so if on the news cycle, you're saying, hey, man, Trump's, leading in these states and what's going on, a lot of people get discouraged and decide, well, hey, I'm probably not going to vote because he's going to win anyway. They're not looking at the facts and the policies. Yeah, Trump do have some policy. He has some, and when I say he has some policy stance, we kind of know it because we know what the Republicans stand for. But that dude's not talking about it. He's not messaging either.
He's not talking about anything, bro.
Exactly. And that's why I say he doesn't stand on any policies.
Right.
And that just tells me when people start talking about, well, where we're at right now, my life's not any better. Well, you can't tell me how it's going to be better if you elect this guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's not even talking about it.
Right.
Stuff he's talking about is just straight off crazy. You know what I'm saying? Immigration policy, he's talking about setting up a police state that's going to hunt down immigrants and kick them out the country.
Right.
They like that shit, though.
That's the SS, bro.
Right.
That's Nazi
That is,
Germany.
But these motherfuckers like that shit.
You know what I'm saying?
They happy about that shit.
But black people don't like that. You want a special police around that's going to be
Some
kicking
black
out
people
immigrants?
do like that shit.
But guess what? Soon as we gonna be the immigrants, which we ain't immigrants. We ain't immigrants. We ain't never been immigrants.
But you'll be treated
But they
like
gonna make us immigrants.
They better not.
This the guy that you talking about, siding with. And you have to also understand that if you don't vote and you don't participate, you are voting. That is a vote.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you're helping them. Again,
if you
it's
vote
the
third
messaging.
party just to make a statement, you're helping them. Don't go vote for Kennedy.
Right.
He ain't your granddaddy's Kennedy.
Right.
This ain't John F. Kennedy or Robert Kennedy.
And to your
that ain't
point,
Ted
man,
Kennedy.
Black people, they ain't paying no attention right now. And it's unfortunate because we got to start paying more attention. But they have to be able to tell a story that gets us engaged and makes us want to go out there and pay attention. Like Steve is online. Steve said, for the most part, the economy is doing pretty good. They have terrible marketing. They don't speak up enough about the accomplishments. The Republicans are really good at that. And then he said, Trump ran up the deficit, giving tax cuts to the rich.
Yeah.
So let's keep that stuff in mind.
Yeah, black voters in particular, they talk about, of course, addressing white supremacy, which Republicans do not. They actually embrace it. Racism, student loan forgiveness, education, police reform, and accountability. Those have been the stances that constantly come up in the black community. So if Biden's not doing it well as far as showing what am I doing for these topics, then, it's kind of a lose-lose because they feel like we talk about it every single time and nothing's being done. What has changed in our lives? That's what they want. They want change. And if we don't show that, then why would I sit up here and still get on board with you?
Right. And if because of the fact that we're not seeing change, it's been and I know that polls are not 100%, but some of the things like the New York Times had a poll out there that said black voter turnout is stating that 25% of blacks are not likely to vote this next time around. And to your point earlier, Ace, you said blacks polling for Trump, it was 8% in 2020, and right now it's at 22%.
22%.
So it's growing, by leaps and bounds, man. And I don't know who these people are, but they're saying things like Wanda said. First of all, we all know the same old, thing. Biden too old. That brother old. Inflation. And we all. I'm gonna tell you like this: inflation ain't his fault. I know that. You know that. We know economy 101.
Yeah.
Right. But when people paying at the grocery store and they grocery bills and they eggs and they milk and they bread is crazy ass prices, they start to point the finger at somebody.
Should be pointed at HEB.
Yeah.
Or not even HEB, like the economy, the banking system.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody.
and the farmers know that, or COVID, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the supply chain that's been damaged
Yep.
for the last 3 years. I mean, it's a lot of things that come into that, which
Yep,
is
but
also controlled by China.
That's not what they do. They try to point it at a person.
They're trying to point it at a person. You know what I'm saying? So, and we know that's what people do, and It's like gas prices or whatever. They always pointed at the president. They pointed at the economy and the way their checkbook or pocketbook's not hurting. And I get all of that. And I even get the old part with Biden. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I get all of that. But just pay attention. You know what I'm saying? And look at what your alternatives are.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff that you're talking about, you're affected by your local elections. You know, we just had we just had something that went over here just a couple of weeks ago. I can guarantee you, a lot of people didn't even vote in that.
I voted.
You know,
I voted too.
few of us. I mean,
Yeah, but you're right.
we
like,
also
we
have
don't,
a weekly podcast.
Like,
we
it's
talk
right.
about
That we talk about voting all the time. You know, but again, I think it's the messaging. You have to get it out there, and you have to educate people because they don't. I really do think it's a lot of it's just ignorance, and they just don't know.
Yeah, they just don't
You know,
know,
they
man.
just
And
aren't
they go by what they hear, and they hear, oh man, Trump's doing this and Trump's doing that.
Right.
Mind you, he's also got 91 court, charges on him right now. Got 4 court cases going on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's crazy.
Yes.
You know, we got friends of ours that's locked up. People, and could you imagine me running for president?
Right. Oh, the guy from January 6th is running. Huh? How about that?
Exactly. But if
We have an insurrectionist running for a congressional seat.
But if some of our friends was running for, they got criminal records, was running for office, they're running for the student, city council member, and they'll be getting murdered right now because of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? This dude, got a lot of things going on and still leading. Like people are still ignoring that. Why is that?
I don't know. But what we don't want you to ignore is that like button. Make sure you click on the like button. And also, if you're enjoying the conversation and you want to be involved in these, videos every week, make sure that you subscribe to Left Wing Kingz. So another big piece of this is like the candidates. So Trump, we know Trump got love. He's got the second most votes ever in a presidential election.
Yeah.
But you also got third-party candidates coming through the woodworks. We got Cornel West. We got, what's his name, Manchin, talking about he might run. So, these things are coming into play too. So it's not only like Trump.
Yeah.
And the things that people don't like about Biden, it's also like, well, all these other choices are coming into the field now. So it's diluting the voter pool.
Yeah. We all know that the Trump faithful are going to vote for Trump.
They ain't going to vote for these third parties.
They're not going to, they ain't entertaining Manchin and Robert Kennedy and Brother Cornel. I love Brother Cornel West, but brother, this ain't the time. You know what I'm saying? I love you to death, but we don't need this right now, Brother Cornel. You know what I'm saying? Right. I hear what you're saying, but
they're not there yet.
Yeah. So that also is going to fight against them. I'm still a big advocate. I was talking about this morning. And I know black people ain't gonna like this, but Biden probably needs to change his vice president candidate. I think that would help him out. I hate to say it, huh?
Why?
Because I think that a lot of the voters that won't vote for him right now will vote for him if he has a stronger vice president candidate that they trust and they think can run the country. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think they have any faith in Kamala. Not knocking anything. She hasn't did anything wrong. They gave her a tough bite. They gave her immigration. You know what I'm saying? They told her to handle immigration, the hardest thing that the president can do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that he has a stronger vice president then that old stuff kind of goes out of the way. You know what I'm saying? That's talking from being political on it, But and I know we're talking about blacks. Why they not voting for Biden right now? That probably ain't gonna help that cause.
Right.
Let me point out something else too that I think is important, man. We got the third party, talked about that, but Trump ain't dumb. He knows why he lost last time, and it's because he didn't have enough support from people that look like us. That's why he lost.
Yeah, well, abortion.
And when Biden got support from what's his name from South Carolina, can't remember his name. That's when he took off and he won a nomination. Ended up getting.
I know
elected.
you're talking about.
Yeah. So now Trump
I can't remember his name right now, but
I looked it up, and Trump is actually he's made it a priority to outreach to the black community. And some of the things that I have listed on here that he's talking about doing for the black community is he wants to create legislation to overhaul criminal justice laws, strong pre-COVID. He had a strong pre-COVID economy during his presidency, so he wants to kind of build on that. He wants to create opportunity zone program for tax-favored investments in low-income areas. And once again, immigration. He wants to increase border security. He wants to have stricter limits on legal immigration and crack down on undocumented immigrants. So he's trying to do these things, and he sees these things as an outreach to get more black votes because he knows he didn't have enough black support. He's getting more already, but he's doing things that he wants to do. And I'm sure at some point, well, I'm not sure. I don't know. I talked to Yolanda about this the other day. I don't know if he's going to get out there and talk about these things. He needs to, but I don't know if he's going to because
he does.
Even if he wins the nomination for Republican, like who says he has to debate Joe Biden?
He's not.
Exactly. He don't got to debate anyone. He don't got to go say a word. The people gonna vote for him.
He's not gonna do that.
Well, what's frustrating when you said the undocumented, I just want to tell people, I'm sorry, poor people are not hurting you. Okay? Even with welfare, if you go look at the percentage, I think it's like less than 4% of our federal government funding goes to undocumented immigrants, guys. So if you think the economy is being impacted by undocumented people, then you're just, once again, the uneducated just voting. That is not the issue here. So you want to look at your taxation and what he's doing for rich people. You got 1% leading the country. Why is that? So as black folks, I don't know. We got to definitely keep our eyes open and read, guys. Just listen, go and research for yourself. You don't have to listen to just our podcast, but go and look and see what they're running on, what their voting record is as well. Because that's one thing. They can say one thing and then go off and vote a totally different way. All that is open record. So it's just a matter of picking up your phone like we use every day and research that information.
And then Steve is online and he said, backing up what you just said, Walanda, he said also messing with immigration is going to mess with the economy because they contribute to the economy with cheap labor.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's facts. Because guess what? I can get nobody to clean my school. I think I got 3 custodians.
You know how much it costs for black people to clean your school? You know how much brothers going to charge you? You want $25 an hour.
I would too. Have you seen it?
Do that.
Do you know what they got to do? Shout out to my custodians. I love y'all.
And we want health care.
Yeah.
And we want a vacation package along with that. We're trying to go to Jamaica, man. Everybody doing all of that.
Man, I can tell you how many industries are being hurt right now with the cheaper labor. And you know what? All they want, just like everybody else, I want to take care of my family, right?
Yeah.
I want to be able to survive. I want to be able to eat. I want to have the American dream. That's all they want, just like everybody else. They all want the same thing.
Yeah.
And they're not taking from you. I promise you, those are the hardest workers I've ever seen in my life because I wouldn't do half what they do.
No.
Yeah, and they pay taxes. That is correct.
Yeah.
If you got a job, you paying. Okay, like it or not, they coming for your money. So it's just real frustrating that they focus on that whole undocumented. Drives me nuts, and I get it. I don't want them just living in the streets and, things of that nature. But as far as them hurting you as in an economy stance, sorry, that ain't it. That ain't it.
No, earlier we're talking about Trump and how he ran in 2020. And I mentioned abortion, but no, abortion came after that. Roe versus Wade was reversed. That's what's going to hurt him this time is basically what I'm saying. Is like abortion is probably the kryptonite that's going to really hurt him. And black people in Georgia actually put Trump, it was the way he lost the election last time. And I don't know if that's still a factor in this one. Sean made a good point when he was talking about some of the things that he's retroactively going after to encourage the black vote. But you truthfully got to understand what the president can or cannot do. And usually when it comes to local or community things, increasing jobs, those usually fall into the state. And the local area.
Right.
So you need to be watching on who you're voting for
statewide.
In that area. Statewide. Who's your governor?
That
who's
is correct.
Congressman coming out and things of that nature, and who's your state congressman and all that good stuff. So that's part of paying attention is being a conscious black voter. Listen, I always tell people this. A lot of black people have a myth and say, hey, well, my vote don't count. Well, they wouldn't have killed us and lynched us and did all that stuff if they didn't believe it counted. You have to understand what the power is and how to utilize that power. And that's by being effective in your state and local government, you know what I'm saying? And understanding how that works. And then when it comes to voting federally, understanding how overall the macro of the whole situation is going to affect you. I'm just, it's just hard for me to see as a black person, you're looking at Trump and saying that this guy's going to make my life better. That's just very hard for me to see. You know what I'm saying? Plain and simple. I'm not saying everything Biden is doing good, and I'm not saying, well, the lesser two evils. I think you have to hold him accountable also. But you can't sit up here and look at his presidency and say he hasn't did anything. He's passed some great legislation that's going through, and we're being affected by it now, and definitely over the next couple of years we're going to be affected. The infrastructure bill is one that's created jobs, and you can see around everybody's city that I was just coming over here right now, and there was a road in my neighborhood that ain't been repaired, since I've been born.
Right.
That they got people working on right now, and I'm like, God dang, unfortunately, my grandparents didn't get to see this, but
here we are. Yeah,
they're fixing this area. Yeah. That's the infrastructure bill, and you talk about he has an inflation act that's working right now that you're actually seeing is coming into play, and you can see some things that are trying to get lower and get better. Gas is way lower than it was. You know what I'm saying? So
again, people don't know how inflation works. It's not like a day to day. Even if he made a change, let's say today, you ain't gonna see it for a while. Like people don't again, that's why school is so important. I talk about education so much, because if you don't understand, you live in this whole little bubble and you're just mindless and ignorant to it. And again, I want a president too that's for everybody. I don't want just somebody, well, I'm just gonna help the Black community. Can we have a president that just helps all community and every single person impacted? Again, like we can all sit at the table and we all can eat a good meal. That's what we need. It's a president for everybody.
And we had a Black president, and he just didn't help the Black community.
And he shouldn't.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, but he shouldn't.
Exactly.
And he shouldn't.
That's what they thought was going to happen, but it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying?
But
that's not the president's job.
Right. Let's kind of talk about Biden's accomplishments, because like you said, people don't know, right? So let's give them a list of some of the things that he's done to just kind of like approve upon our lives right now that we can physically or, it might even be intangible, but something that we know about. So he appointed Black judges, right? A bunch of Black judges, including the Supreme Court Justice, Kenjani Brown Jackson, right? So, she's voting on our side on things.
A very diverse cabinet.
He passed a bipartisan infrastructure bill.
Yeah.
So this is going to do things for many years to come to improve how we live and how we get to work and the things that we do, our roads and all type energy, all type of things moving forward.
Renewable energy and conversion over to electric cars and all that stuff.
He pursued some economic policies that have increased jobs. So we've seen, unfortunately, jobs kind of going up and down, right, recently. So,
but his jobs report's actually good.
Right, it's actually good right now. But we've seen increases and decreases, but it's better than when he started, definitely.
And I actually think the last 3 months has been just dang near record break. It's been real good.
It's been great.
Yeah.
He tried to cancel the student loan debt that you talked about. He was blocked by the Supreme Court. Yeah. So, hopefully we're able to do something with that.
Yeah,
hopefully
hurry up and do that. I need that.
We need that done. And he's been attempting to pass policy overhauling voting legislation. But it's being stymied by Congress again. So he's trying to
say
get
the truth.
things
That's
done
Republicans
that are
has
going to help
been
us.
doing that ever since Barack Obama got in office. They've been trying to change up the Voting Rights and attacking the Voting Rights Act, and he's fighting against that. You're definitely right on that.
Yep.